Alright guys, welcome to school. This is going to be a video about an introduction to calculus. In order to really understand what calculus is about and where it begins, we need a very complete graphing tool. So one of the ones that I think is really useful is Desmos. Okay, so if you have an access to phone or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop, whatever device connects to the internet, then you can access Desmos. Okay, so Desmos, type in Desmos on your tab when you're opening tab, and then or your browser, and then click on Desmos. If you would like a scientific calculator and you don't have one at home, then it also has a feature for that. I'm not going to go ahead and show you that because I think everybody is capable of typing numbers on a scientific calculator. However, I will introduce you to the graphing capabilities of Desmos, okay, which is the most useful and really what we need. When you open Desmos, it sends you directly to a blank grid. Now, this blank grid is bound by, it's not really bound. You can really make it as big as you want or as small as you want. But essentially, you can type in a line, so x plus 2. You can type anything of polynomial behavior, so x squared plus 2x plus 2. Let's give it some roots. Minus 9. Okay, so now we have two roots. You can also, graph the sinusoidal function. So the parent function sine x. You can, do an exponential function. So exponential, that's e to raised to the power of x. Okay, so you have an access to a very powerful tool. Any graph you want, any model you want, you can graph it. Okay. Now let's start getting into more specific topics, right? So if you want to learn about lines, you can learn about that. If you want to learn about trigonometric functions, then you have, for example, the parent function right here. You have the frequency. You can, adjust the amplitude if you would like. You can adjust this right here, which I believe it messes with the frequency. Okay, or and period. All right, so you can graph conics, circles. You can graph ellipses, hyperbolas, even polar functions, which we talked about in pre-calc. But the most important, okay, well, here's another thing. You can also use statistics here. So you grab a data set, for example, from Excel, a bunch of data points, and then you plug them in right here. You can have a linear regression if you would like, maybe an exponential regression or a trigonometric regression, all right? And you can model any data set with the most appropriate function, okay? However, in the next video, I'm going to close right here. This is basically an introduction to this site. We're going to talk about the secant line and the tangent line. Okay, so what is the secant line? It is essentially a line that crosses a function at two different points. All right, and what is a tangent line? Well, let me show you right now. So, for example, you have this function right here. You have this linear sinusoid, which is essentially just a wave that goes up because it's imposed a linear behavior just at 0.3x. Okay, and so the secant line crosses the function at two different points, and the tangent line is going to be start graphing. Let's go down. The tangent line is essentially just a line that crosses the function once. So again, we have the same sinusoid function, but this time our line only crosses at one point. So the secant, just to summarize, is a line that crosses a function at 2 points, and the tangent line is a function that crosses is a line that crosses the function at 1 point. Okay, so I know maybe I'm talking a little fast, but the main thing that I want you to get away from this is that Desmos is a great tool, and it will allow us to uncover the meaning or the beginning of calculus in terms of derivatives and rates of change and also limits.